Hello, hello, hello. My name's Phalafel and you're watching Disney Channel. Okay, let me stop. This is me building a Calamity Ganon armor, and for this tutorial it will include beginner-friendly LED options. So if soldering and coding is not your jam, I'm here for you with more options. Let's get into it. If you've seen my Lionel tutorial series, you can follow the similar breastplate and armor patterning steps that I have here, but I save all my patterns, so I'm using the Lionel breastplate pattern to redraft a new chest plate for Calamity Ganon using some design elements from the game. Same for the pauldrons, the greaves, and the gauntlet patterns that I've saved from my Meta Knight cosplay. There's a picture right here. Basically, I highly encourage to save all the base patterns that you make so that you can alter them and redesign them for any style of armor. So again, I'll link right here. This is where I show how I made the breastplate for Lionel. Now, what is new in a new edition of Phalafel Builds a pattern, I've never made hip pieces before. I wanted them to mimic hip cages, and I also wanted them to mimic the Breath of the Wild Guardian leg with metal scallop layers. So using kind of a basic triangular rounded shape, I cut out 3 of these for each side, left and right, and glued them together to make a base for the metal layers to lay on top. Pro tip, if you want any foam pieces to have a rounded dome shape, like for pauldron shoulder pieces perhaps, draft your patterns with an outward curve like this. But if you want a valley sunken shape, draft the patterns with an inward curve like this. And if you want both so that you have this kind of sloped shape, like I'm doing with this hip pattern, draft your pattern like this. I also use this pattern for the shoe armor so that it fits over the toes but also on the top of the foot. After drafting all my patterns, I trace the chest plate and any piece of the armor that's going to light up onto 1/2 inch LED foam provided by the wonderful folks at Cosplay Supplies. This foam is transparent, so it'll allow LED lights to shine through it. All the other pieces that don't have light shining through, like the hip plates and the arm laser cannon thing, were drafted onto a 1/4 inch regular EVA foam, also from Cosplay Supplies. I recommend using 1/4 inch or 4mm thickness for your foam for armor because it's more flexible and it's easier to create curved shapes, while thick enough to hold its form well. The thicker the foam, the more difficult it is to curve the shapes and glue them together without using excessive heat from a heat gun. So back to the hip armor, using the triangle patterns I made, I created the base, and then using the different types of curves for the hills and the valleys, I patterned together the scallops for the hips, cut them out, and layered them on top. I also did the same for the greaves so that you get that guardian leg look. If you watch the headpiece tutorial that I posted last, I'm linking it right here, you'll see how I made foam trims for details, as well as me spreading on foam clay with my fingers to add a kind of gooey design like the Calamity goop that covers Hyrule Castle. Then I take a Dremel to sand the trim so that they're more rounded and textured to look like stone, as well as smoothing out all the seams. And there is a fresh set of armor head to toe. Treat yourself to a delicious pizza because I was hungry and I deserve. Using a wood burning tool, I went through and I carved out more designs on all the stony trims throughout the entire armor to give it that more detailed, more organic look for the whole thing. I am reckless with my belongings, don't be me. Once I seal the foam with a heat gun, I prime all the LED foam pieces with Flexbond. This is also provided by Cosplay Supplies, thank you so much. Flexbond is nice for pieces that are going to be moving around a lot because it's flexible, so it doesn't crack. It also doesn't yellow LED foam, so you'll see I'm using it for the foam fingers. That's going to be part 4 of the tutorial for super advanced LEDs, but we'll get into that later. And then I primed all the regular EVA foam with Plasti Dip, which is another foam primer. Recommend doing this in a ventilated area. Stay safe, thank you. Once everything was primed, I used this cool automotive iridescent paint as a base coat for all the armor pieces, sans the hip armor and the scallops on the legs. Those were just regular white pearl spray paint. This iridescent automotive paint is spastic, and under the light it color shifts from gold to red to purple and to black. So it gives that kind of the same kind of shine that the miasma-ness-ish of Calamity Ganon's body has. So I wanted to mimic that quality of the character. Since all the trim and details are the stony bits of Calamity Ganon, I used 2 layers of Folk Arts Coffee Latte with a regular flat brush. And then with a dry stipple brush, I dabbed on a layer of Folk Arts Coffee Bean for more dimension and more texture. If you ever need to add spooky eyeballs, I consider using half of a plain clear ornament and just gluing it right onto your armor and painting over top with various different paints. I used some Folk Art iridescent red, blacks, purples, oranges, yellows, whites. I used a lot of paint for the eyeballs. And then I also covered the edges with foam clay so that it is more of that goopy Ganon effect. To attach everything to my body, I sewed on giant 8mm snap buttons onto stiff felt and glued them directly onto the inside of armor pieces so that they snap right on, like the belts, like straps. I even have it onto the cape to help keep the chest plate up. And boom! You have a full set of armor. What, armor? You have a full set of armor. But I know you're asking, I hear it right now, I hear it. You're like, hey, Phalafel, LEDs scare me. How do I do them as a beginner? And I'm like, okay, please don't shout, I got you. I got you. You can try just a single LED circuit. These on-off switches already have coin battery packs built in. I'll link them down below, I got them from Amazon. So you just solder the positive red wire to a resistor so the battery doesn't short out, and then the resistor to the positive prong of the LED, and then the negative prong of the LED to the black wire. And you can make multiple of these mini circuits and stick them wherever that you want to stick. But then you're like, but Phalafel, I don't have a soldering kit. This seems really involved. So here are 2 options for you, all right? Try using fairy string lights. These are great. You can get like a pack of 6 of these types of lights for $9 on Amazon. They already come pieced together with a battery pack that has an on-off switch, so you just stick them into whatever part of cosplay and you flip the switch. They have a long battery life too. These are roughly like 72 hours. I'd also suggest using electroluminescent wire, or EL wire, L wire, bienvenidos. These wires just glow throughout, and you can plug in multiple wires into a single battery pack that it comes with. They sometimes have different flash settings, so different flash speeds or just the regular glow. I'm putting these in using adhesive craft foam onto the backside of my chest plate. And this one has a clip on the battery pack that I just clip right into the armor. And that's it. Now you have a bunch of different easy ways to light up your armor project. So I want to thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on all my socials. They're listed right here. You can pretty much find me as Phalafel Cosplays on any platform, almost any platform, I don't know, most platforms. Big thanks to Cosplay Supplies for sponsoring all the foam and the Flexbond used in this tutorial. And the final part is coming soon. It will be advanced LEDs for gauntlet and finger armor, so be on the lookout for that. And thanks again so much for watching. Okay, bye!